Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Katie and I'm the Director of Business Development at DoubleRadius. As always, the goal of our presentation today is to give you the tools so that you can build a better network. And with that being said, we're excited to have Baicells Technologies present today on the topic of CPEs and EUDs for LTE Networks. Making the presentation today is Tom Ulrich, who's the Senior Sales Engineer at Baicells. He's a CPI certified sales engineer, and he offers a wealth of knowledge with CBRS, 5G, DAS, private LTE, IoT, mesh, and Wi-Fi. And prior to his work with Baicells, he has over 20 years experience with carrier-grade RF designs. So we're really looking forward to all that he'll be able to share with us today. Before we jump into the presentation, just a couple things to note. First, as you have questions, please make sure you enter them real time into the questions box. Don't wait until the Q&A session is at the end, because we will actually be picking a winner from those who enter a question before the Q&A session starts. That winner will receive a DoubleRadius swag pack with some cool items. And second, after the webinar, a survey will pop up on your screen. Please take a minute for that, as we really would appreciate the feedback. And with that, I'll hand it over to Tom to get us started.
Thanks, Katie. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning to the folks that are on the West Coast. Definitely happy to be with everyone today. And we're going to take a little bit deeper dive. This is probably going to be a little bit different than the traditional, what is CBRS, how does it work, from that level. If we do ever have more questions or want to take a deeper dive into the basic fundamentals of CBRS, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to set up those conversations. So today we're going to be more focused in the CPE and EUD, in what the different use cases are, as we're making those decisions on what's going to work best for us. The first slide I have here is probably the most important one: how to get a hold of me, how to get a hold of us at Baicells. Again, I bring more than 20 years of experience on the wireless networking side. Most of my career has been focused in the 3GPP standards, so very familiar and have gone through the evolution of 1xRTT, 3G, 4G, and now, as we see it right in the forefront, 5G and R. So definitely been real excited in my career and blessed in the sense that I could have been a VCR repairman and been out of business in the year 2. So real thankful that I've been in this wireless space, and technology is ever changing, and it's always very exciting. There's something to learn, as well as a lot of value to offer in terms of what new products and what new use cases are for those specific solutions. A little bit about us at Baicells. 3 things that I usually like to focus on is that from our standpoint, we install things very easily. So we've got a great product portfolio with a lot of flexibility, and it also allows you to pay as you grow, starting at day 1, as well as moving into a more mature LTE based system. The second pillar for me is always the affordability. We are the lowest cost and bring great value with our B portfolio, as well as the full stack of products that we offer, both on the core and the CPE side. And the third thing I always like to highlight is that we are standards based. So even if Baicells were to go away tomorrow, that legacy of having a standards based system brings great value, and we aren't going anywhere. We're only going to grow more as the market continues to mature, and we're very well positioned in the CBRS space. Is really where our specialties lie. A little bit more about us. We're only a 6-year-old company. We've seen 2,000% growth the last 3 years. We have over 600 employees worldwide. And a lot of patents and a lot of involvement with the standards bodies, including the 5G ORAN, as well as being a partner of the OnGo Alliance and several other entities and parties within that make us experts in this space. So quick kickoff, just wanted to have poll question number 1. We're going to have 2 poll questions here, so I'll hand it back over.
We're going to give about 15 seconds to answer this, so if you can just take a moment and answer what best describes your interest in LTE. About 5 more seconds on this one. All right, and we'll close this one out. So about 32% answered already deployed in LTE network. Another 5% have LTE gear and are preparing to deploy it. 26% said want to deploy LTE but haven't selected equipment, and 37% are still on the fence.
That's a great mix of different user types, and I think it really speaks to where the market is at. So as we've moved into the emerging space in CBRS, certainly we have a lot of operators. We have a lot of people that are on the fence, and a lot of people that are currently getting equipment and starting their first proof of concept and field trials. So definitely exciting to see a good mix of users. From the Baicells side, other things that I like to highlight us as in a whole company is that we do have an end-to-end product, but that being said, it gives us a lot of flexibility to be pulled in early on in conversations to help understand what your system architecture is, what's going to be the right mix of products when you are putting together those end-to-end solutions, and certainly how do you fit into an existing wide area network? How do you fit into maybe an existing point-to-point system, 5 gig network that you've deployed previously, and maybe you're getting to a point of saturation, or you want to pick up new users and different applications like online site, which is one of those key benefits within CBRS. As we move to the 5G NR standard, I think we're going to see our data throughputs almost triple from where they are currently with 440 megabits per second in LTE. And we're also pushing the number of concurrent users on our radios. Our 436Q, for example, we just sent out a software release that will allow for 96 users, and we certainly soon are going to have a product suite that is going to get us up to 256 users per radio. So a lot of capacity and bang for the buck on the radios and solutions that we offer. I have one slide here that kind of just is a quick overview on CBRS. What does it bring? How does it work? The key thing here is that 3550 to 3650 is going to be where the PAL licenses stay. So we've got 150 megahertz of broad spectrum that can be used in band 48. And again, one of the things that we're real excited about is our pathway as we're going to be moving into 5G. We continue to see improvements on the 3GPP standards, and as those come along, we certainly are going to be adopting and bringing those into our product suite as well. The other thing that is a real advantage of LTE is its security and encryption. LTE is really a strong network when it comes to almost being a layer 3 network for the safety and security. So it brings into new conversations with operational technologies, and I've got some other use cases towards the end that I will highlight specifically. When it comes to the end-to-end solution, I know that I mentioned that in one of the earlier slides. For me, our product suite and any LTE network consists of kind of 3 main food groups. So it's our core network, which we've got a lot of flexibility in how we can put that together. The radio and the RAN access side of things, that has radios both indoor and outdoor, as well as for us, we have the CPE devices, which is what I really want to highlight, different use cases on the CPEs, because for us, we've spent a lot of time in our product development and our R&D cycles to bring a full suite of products that solve a variety of different challenges. So from the fundamental standpoint, those 3 food groups, the first one is on the core side. From a Baicells perspective, there are different variety of ways that you can put this together. Our cloud core is the easiest way and is where the majority of our customers live and breathe. This allows for simple easy to use functionality where you don't have to make a significant investment to set up the core architecture of an LTE network. For us, we also have a second option, which goes on the radio itself, which is our Halo B option. And this adds some additional redundancy and communication links via the LTE standard, where we put some of those communications on the radio itself. And then the third option that we have, which is our most robust option, and often more of a customized network build, is going to be our local EPC and management servers that customers, often they'll get to a certain point where maybe they've deployed cloud core, and then they move into a more robust solution. So that's a quick overview of our cloud, which is that first food group I talked about. The second part that I talked about, and I only highlight one radio on here for simple purposes that I don't want to overload everybody on the call. If you're looking at starting an LTE network, this is the most easy way to deploy and start and find out if LTE is really for you. Our Nova 227 radio, it's a lower power radio, so it's only a 1/4 watt by 2, and it can basically be a plug and play. It has an integrated antenna. It runs over power over Ethernet. And it's very quick and simple to deploy, and most importantly, it's got a great cost advantages. So we've recently dropped the price on this to $599, and this is the radio system that you can stand up. So the Cloud Core, we usually charge $1 per month per subscriber on the Cloud Core, a $599 radio, and then you can choose from the variety of different options that we have on the CPE side, and you can be up and running with your own private LTE network, and it's got a great promise and potential for different applications and use cases. So in its fundamental level, I wanted to just review quickly the different categories of the CPE device. In the CPE side, you'll often hear, I'm using a Cat 4, I'm using a Cat 6 device, I'm using a Cat 15 device, and especially if you get somebody that comes from the structured cabling world, they might be saying Cat 5, Cat 6. Yeah, I know exactly what that is, and I use it every day. Well, it has a different meaning when you get to the LTE standards, and this slide helps kind of review what the different categories dictate. The key things to pull out is that within the LTE standards, they've really been able to ramp up the data throughput speeds through what they call carrier aggregation, which allows you to use multiple channels for a specific radio, and that data throughput speed is aggregated together. So in this example, there's two 10 megahertz channels, and the Baicells radios we often run two 20 meg channels, and that will allow you to get significant better throughput and data speeds. The key here is to look at the Cat 4. That was the long standard, I think, in the fixed wireless space. As it evolved and it first allowed for carrier aggregation, that was the Cat 6 standard. And now we even have a product, as you kind of move down the chart, that goes into the Cat 15 standard base. So we're really moving up in the data throughput speeds, and we're seeing our customers need to grow. So there's a variety of different ways that you can do that. But what you can't change is if you've purchased a Cat 4 and you're looking to use carrier aggregation, we've often seen customers that have to go out and start replacing some of those Category 4 devices with Cat 6 devices or even Cat 15 devices to take advantage of the additional data throughput speeds that are available through carrier aggregation. So those are something to think about as you're doing your network planning. Maybe I want to look at the Cat 15 out of the gate, and then maybe I'll start with a single channel 20 megahertz bandwidth block where as my customers have higher demand, I'll move it to a 40 meg block and then can take advantage of some of the higher data throughput speeds as their subscribers and users are requiring it. Again, this is all standards based, so you certainly, your iPhone, your Galaxy devices, a lot of those are band 48 capable now. Certainly, it becomes a different conversation as we move from a fixed wireless application to a mobile application. So from the Baicells standpoint, our target market is really in the fixed space, and there's a lot of costs that come associated in making a true mobile environment. And this is important to remember because as you go in and are evaluating, how am I going to deliver this? What are my use cases? Just making that separation between the fixed wireless space and the mobile operator space. I come from the DAS world, and for me, as I first became familiar with CBRS, was always a mobile-driven application. So, and understanding that, I kept thinking, how am I going to plug in the CBRS radio to my existing DAS? And I've come to the conclusion that, it's probably not as cost effective as it can be just doing a separate layer with a fixed wireless type of solution. And also it really just kind of helped me understand, where the best use cases are in the IIoT space, in the private LTE space, in the non-line of sight applications, and really looking at historically even, where the WISP operators have used CBRS very effectively to expand their coverage footprint. So as we look at CBRS specifically in band 48, they've categorized devices, and this is all available on the WinForm website, into basically 3 different category types. So the EUD is the very simplest one. So these are your mobile phones, your low power devices. These devices do not require a CPI for installation, and they also do not require to be registered on the SAS. So there are some advantages in these EUD devices, where that you're not going to have some of the constraints that come along with some of the outdoor CBRS deployments. The next category, I think that it's easiest to look at it, is the tower-based, which is the category B. These always have to be outdoor driven solutions. They will require a CPI. For us, this is the base stations that are on the towers, the base stations that are going up and capturing a wide area network of coverage. And the third category, which we're actually real excited about because we just launched one of our new indoor radio types with our Neutrino product line. And there are some intricacies that go into the category A space, and it really becomes the self-geolocating mechanisms, along with if it doesn't support the 1588 standard. For us, because we've actually created a custom line of CPE devices, our CPEs will need to be required with registration on the SAS because they are higher power. And I came into this market and into Baicells with more of a carrier type of mentality, where putting a 20 or 40 watt radio up on the tower is something that is very feasible, and it's something that happens in the licensed spectrum space. So for me, it was a little bit of an adjustment, realizing that the high power radio that you're sticking on the tower it's really only a 1 watt output power per port, with then an extra gain on the antenna, which allows you to achieve that 47 dBm ERP max output powers that the CBRS and WinForm standards allow. So it's definitely an adjustment, and it's where there's a lot of value in choosing the right CPE in having different applications, whether it's in building, whether it's an outdoor CPE, whether it's a high gain CPE, whether you want to capture the Cat 4, Cat 6, or Cat 15 data speeds, and it really kind of balances the link. So, while traditionally I think you're a little bit unbalanced on the downlink power, the CPE really allows for, you capture via high gain antenna, as well as transmit back to the tower at really good data throughput speed. So it really makes the entire experience a good one. So we have poll question number 2.
Okay, we'll give about another 15 seconds for this one as well. What type of CPEs are you currently using in your LTE network? About 10 more seconds. 5 more seconds. All right, let's close this poll out. Looks like 33% said Cat 4, 19% Cat 6, 14% said Cat 15, and 19% not sure or other, and 29% not applicable.
Very good. And I think we're seeing, again, a mixed use of Category 4, Category 6, and Category 15 devices. And, the highlight, where Baicells product portfolio comes in and allows us to capture Cat 4, Cat 6, and Cat 15 devices. This slide to me really helps, frame in where the different products sit, as well as I think we've got a couple of products in here that are moving into our product roadmap as well. And that's one important thing about Baicells is we're very much committed to the future, very much committed to having a very strong portfolio both for today and for tomorrow. The Cat 15 is probably, if you're going to have one takeaway, this device is really a rock star. In our early field deployments, we've been seeing most of our customers experience a 10 to 15% improvement in either RSRP or data throughput speeds. And this device, you're really pushing the limits of where the standards are for today, especially within the fixed wireless space. This device is going to allow for us to use carrier aggregation. The antenna beam width pattern on this it's very interesting as you look at it compared to our other devices. We really tried to peak the antenna gain that's on the device, and it's got a very narrow beam antenna. So previously we had a 19.5 dBi Cat 4 device, which another rock star device that a lot of our customers have known and loved over the years. And one of the things that we've been seeing is that because you're having the both 2x2 and 4x4 capabilities along with carrier aggregation, as well as a more specific beam width on the antenna. That's where we've been seeing our customers really report positive gains, and really have seen the interest in this product be something that is really great for the market. The one thing that I will say about the CPEs on a fundamental level, again, going back to kind of my 3 food group scenarios, the CPE is usually going to be installed at the household or at the residence where your subscriber is going to be looking to attach to the internet. Certainly there's also enterprise and industrial applications, but this would be your subscriber module that's really installed at the endpoint location. Usually it's installed with a J-arm, kind of like a satellite dish, and with that, it's powered by power over Ethernet. So there's a couple different ways that that can be done, but inside the box is going to come with the power supply, the PoE device, and give you the I think a small cable. You might want to extend that to more of the custom length that you're going to need to install at the customer residence, as well as you're going to want to add in some additional grounding for the devices as well. But other than that, everything will come in the box ready to install, and we certainly are really excited about this product. It's pushing our data throughput speeds up to 580 megabits per second download and 30 megabits upload. It will allow us to take advantage of 4x4 MIMO, 256 QAM, and the output power on it. Again, we'll take it up above an EUD device. We also are going to have this product available in band 42, 43, which is kind of the new band 48. But there are still some legacy customers that do utilize those frequency bands, such as in Canada. And then we also have a product that's going to be focused in band 41, which is the other space that Baicells has seen customer interest in the 2.5 to 2.7 spectrum. All of these devices can be managed through our OMC platform. So having availability, being able to restart the devices are all part of that management GUI that I kind of talked about with the first food group and the core piece and management piece of the network. As well as that core piece of the network is the place where you'll be able to manage through our BOSS system, the SIM cards, what their service plans are going to be, as well as the activating the SIMs on the per device per component level. All of these devices that I've shown so far, because they are the CPE device, we do integrate with the SAS, and our OMC will manage the connection via the domain proxy. So we've been real happy with the progress that we've been making. It certainly wasn't as easy as I think everybody thought, but in the last 12 months, we're making giant leaps in terms of the communication with the SAS, and made the integration of these devices very simple and easy to manage. So I know I jumped right to the Cat 15, which is our biggest and best, quite literally from a performance standpoint, but from the use case scenarios, there are still use cases that we see for the Cat 4 type of customers. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So if your radio performance is only going to support Cat 4, and you're really trying to be budget conscious and roll out devices, certainly the Cat 4 devices is our starting point. We have seen a lot of our customers really migrating into the Cat 6 devices, and this is the rock star that I was talking about previously, the high gain Cat 4 device. So again, this Category 4 outdoor unit, it's a square antenna, it's a nice form factor, and it supports 64 QAM, as well as just being a PoE type of device. This is one where we again see people really gravitate to for the high gain, the 19.5 dBi gain performance. And in all honesty, I think that this next one, both the Category 4 and Category 6 version of this device is probably one of our top sellers, and it provides a lot of value, as well as we've seen some customers be able to use reflector antennas to get additional gain on these devices as well. So this is again our kind of entry point on our outdoor Cat 4 device. In the Cat 6, again, to the layman's eyes, these two devices are going to look very similar in its Category 4 and Category 6 versions. For us, just determining if you're going to be leveraging a carrier aggregation, as well as when we do move to the Cat 6 high gain CPE, we're actually moving down to a 14 dBi gain capabilities. So there is a little bit of a trade-off. Cat 4, Cat 6, low gain, high gain, and making those decisions on how much foliage that you have in the area, how much of an issue of line of sight, and as well as what type of data throughput speeds that you would like to give to your customers are all questions that you should be asking when you're choosing the CPEs. And again, the Category 6 outdoor low gain CPE, we're actually going to be coming out with a newer version of this in a very economy focused space. So keep an eye on our roadmap as we do come out with that. I think it's going to have a great price point. Again, the Cat 6 device here is going to have 11 dBi of gain and band 48 space, and capable again of the 64 QAM. So these devices, we're actually selling this as part of our promo kit, which is one of our starter kits. And for us, it's going to be our 436Q radio, as well, along with 3 CPEs and SIM cards for just less than $4,000. And this is going to be more a tower-based type of radio system that'll hit that max EIRP of the CBRS frequencies and let you stretch your legs a little bit. So that's another great promo to take advantage of. And the Cat 6 outdoor low gain CPE is the one that comes with that starter kit. So the indoor device is actually one of the devices I like to talk about. And this is where you're getting a little bit more into very different use cases. So choosing the Cat 4, Cat 6 high gain, low gain, outdoor CPEs, it's a little more trivial in terms of what the form factor is, what CPE that you like the best, which one that you think is going to either look the best or have the lower price or have the capabilities that you need for your customers. But the indoor CPE is where I've found I've had great conversations with customers, and as you're doing a wide area network deployment, if you're buying 100, 200, 300 different devices, having that kind of mix of a indoor device and an outdoor device, to me, brings a lot of value. So in terms of I've got my outdoor CPE that I've liked, that I'm going to use. I have an indoor device. One of the easiest things that I like to talk about is, so you've got a network, you've got a customer that's interested in your product and would like to try it out, but you can't get a technician out there for 2 weeks to do the permanent install, or they get out there and they realize that doing the permanent install on the side of the house is going to be a little bit more challenging. The indoor CPE allows you to see if you can capture the signal, maybe placing it near the window. It does have a decent amount of gain that's in it, and if it works, great. If it doesn't work, then you can schedule a time that they can come back later on and complete the permanent install with one of the high gain CPEs. And that mixed blend of different use types is something that if you're looking at that wide area network, maybe I'll buy a pallet of the indoor CPEs, and I know that I'm going to have a significant number of outdoor CPEs that'll go along with that. But it allows you to kind of mix and match and blend with what you think is going to work best for your customer base or your specific application. And again, on the Cat 4, Cat 6 indoor CPE, it is a a Category A device, so it will need CPEI certification, and that's where you can go in and go in through the Baicells GUI and enable that CPEI certification. So when we talk about extending the capabilities of the CPE, for us, Baicells, we've got a lot of great customers that are in the WISP space, and we've seen some of the challenges that they've brought as they've matured their customer base, or even some of the pain points that they've brought along with their networks. And we've created a ancillary component products set that comes along with the CPE. And I'll go through and highlight each one of these components, but the idea is that we want to expand not only the CPE device, which connects the internet at the home, but also give some viable options to either upsell, add additional capabilities to your customers, or even tie in the network management platform, so you're not having to worry about the customer's AP, what type of Wi-Fi router that they're using at the house, and allows you to really complete that entire ecosystem for their internet and connectivity needs. And again, the three products that I'm going to highlight are going to be our Snap router, Pocket router, and the Wi-Fi mesh. The Snap router for us is something that allows for you not only to provide the Wi-Fi access and manage that inside the home, but it also will allow you to provide the power over Ethernet to power up the CPE. So it really solves two problems, as well as it supports the 802.11 BG and an AC, which is a really fast network. It's not quite what the Wi-Fi mesh will be, which I'll highlight in the next slide, but it's a very usable Wi-Fi access point that you can install at the customer's homes. And these are very easy to install. You just a small power brick that gets installed on the wall, and then the PoE device that will power up the CPE. And all of this is available to be part of our network management solution too. So again, it brings in that control, and even just having good data of what your subscribers are using on the Wi-Fi front at the home. The Wi-Fi mesh 6 mesh router is something that we're also excited about. For us, it's kind of the next evolution in terms of Baicells moving from that control on the Wi-Fi standpoint, but this device even has some capabilities as a standalone, and it has a very attractive price point, and it also takes into account the 802.11ax Wi-Fi 6 capabilities. So this is the latest and greatest when it comes to the Wi-Fi standards, and it also is a device that you can set up in a mesh type of environment. So typically we see households that are over about 2,000 square feet often will need multiple access points or multiple Wi-Fi routers at each residence. So kind of going back, and I know everybody learns differently, so I just want to re-emphasize the difference between the CPEs and EUDs. The CPE itself is a high gain, high power device that it's the functional device that connects to the network, the same as the EUD. But what it does is it really gives you that high gain connectivity experience from an uplink standpoint, and also allows you to put a very high gain antenna on the device that's going to attach to your network. We've also come out with our first EUD device, which is our Pocket router. this device, it's a personal hotspot. So there are a lot of different use cases for this device. It does support 802.11bgn and AC, as well as the 2.4 and 5 gig on the Wi-Fi side, and it has a battery pack. So this device is something that, say you have a customer that you've sold to that lives 1 mile from their place of work. At that place of work, they might find that the Wi-Fi hotspot pocket router will also pick up coverage and connectivity. And one of the use cases that I talked about in the simplest forms is if you've already deployed a band 48 CBRS network and you've got technicians that are in the field, this is a perfect device to activate on your network, to have in the technicians' trucks. So when they show up to a customer's location, they can see if there's a serviceable measurement on this device outside, as well as if they are troubleshooting issues on the tower, they can go back and verify that they've got a valid connection with a device at the tower, and then kind of work their way back to where the customer's location is to determine whether it's a network issue or whether to determine whether it's an RF issue. So this is a device, again, very low cost. So it's got a lot of different use cases that you can pop up. One of the other big use cases that we've seen has been in the EDU space. And for us, getting students connected, it's been an easy device for us to deploy to those students as they're moving the connectivity, from the schools, into the homes and households. I'm getting kind of close to the end, so kind of bring it back to a summary standpoint. I talked about the 3 food groups of the core, which is going to be here on the left side of the screen with your OMC and EPC, your radio link, which is your second food group of the ENodeBs, which we have both indoor and outdoor products, as well as a host of different use cases when it comes to choosing those CPE devices. So that really kind of helps bring in the entire product portfolio that Baicells has to offer. And again, we are agnostic as we're coming into this, because these are standards-based products and solutions. So if you're using somebody else, another manufacturer that's part of Ongo on the radio RAN side, if you want to take advantage of 4x4 MIMO, again, we have products and CPE devices that are going to cover every run of the gamut in those different use cases. So with that said, bringing it all back together, we just want to reiterate, again, our focus on not only having an end-to-end product, but being flexible to what your needs are in the use cases. I was out in the field with a customer last week, and they really responded to the indoor unit, the Cat 15 unit. They liked the idea that they could simply just set it in the window and get it up and running. And on the Cat 15 device, they loved the fact that we had a good GUI interface, as well as the lights that are on the side of the CPE. So as it is in service, has it linked? Is it active? Do I have any alarms? Those lights and things that as we've built out our product portfolio, we always welcome the feedback of our customers. So it's something that for us, building this product roadmap, it's something that we have to stay close to our customers. We want to hear from you in terms of what are you looking for in the CPE? How can we better serve your needs from the full end-to-end solutions? And I think I had this as my second slide, but I wanted to repeat it just so everybody knows how to get a hold of me. I am, I take integrity very, very carefully, and if you reach out to me and you want to work with me, you can really count on, with the help of DoubleRadius, delivering the best solution and what's going to serve you best. Certainly, I'm not going to sell out one deal to lose a lifetime customer. So feel free to reach out to us. And if you do want a little bit deeper dive in the CBRS market, feel free to reach out to your DoubleRadius rep. Feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we'll be happy to figure out how to make it work for you.
Awesome, thanks, Tom. So it looks like we have a few questions that came through while you were presenting. So the first one is for carrier aggregation, can Baicells support separated channels in CBRS, and what are the rules? And then to follow on that one, do they need to be equally matched, like 20 by 20? And I think what they're asking is, can the channels be contiguous or non-contiguous?
So right now we're moving to being able to support non-contiguous. It's a little bit tricky because sometimes the radios, and it's a little bit easier on the CPE side than it is on the radio side. So what I'd say is, let's take that offline. I'd love to set up a conversation and figure out how much they're looking at in terms of carrier aggregations, whether it's 220 meg channels, 5 meg channels. Let's take a look at it and see if we can find a fit.
Okay, great. And then the second question that came in, is there a Wi-Fi 6 snap router version in the works?
So Baicells I gave everybody a real small snapshot of our product portfolio. And one of the great things about Baicells is that, we do the R&D and development on these products. So right now it's currently set as a 802.11ac product. I do believe I saw just recently a use of the device where it will come into focus with AX. But in terms of timelines, I don't know what I can commit to there. So yes, we are looking at it, and stay close to. If you'd like, you certainly would be happy to do a deep dive on the complete product roadmap, including some of our 5G and R products that we've just recently come out with. Okay,
great. Another question that just came in: what are the power options for the access points or the eNodeBs, AC or DC? And I'm guessing it depends on which eNodeB.
Yeah, so power-wise, I'll break it down that usually everything that has a radio on it is going to inherently have some sort of DC power supply, whether that's an AC power component that plugs into the wall, or whether you're going to be running a PoE device to power it. Everything that comes with our products, is a 110 product, so it plugs right in the wall with the standard prong outlet. So nothing fancy. From the eNodeB side, our power supplies still come with a prong that powers into the wall, but it can become a little bit more complex as you're looking at powering those radios that are on top of the tower. So usually I would say you're going to want to add some additional cabling, and look at how many radios that you're powering, as well as how that power supply device is going to be out in the elements, and that's one of the key things too. I mean, I know all of our power supplies have IP ratings, but looking at what best practices are in terms of running and installing the power, it can be a little bit of a conversation.
Awesome. Next question is, we use dual carrier currently. Is the Cat 15 worth it for us?
Yeah, so in a dual carrier environment, so I'm guessing they probably have 220 megahertz channels. So from a top end throughput speed, they probably aren't going to see the data throughput speeds that you would, moving into a carrier aggregation. That in mind, because of the tight beam and the gain that we've seen on the antenna, we still have seen customers relaying positive coverage measurements and data throughput speeds, because in RF, as you move from a 64 QAM down to 16 QAM, there is a significant throughput degradation. So, it's a little bit of a loaded question, but we have seen customers that are swapping out their Cat 4s to Cat 15s where they have seen benefit. And it's also harder to swap out the CPEs than it is to, climb to the top of the radio and hit 500 subscribers that you're improving the radio for. Having to truck roll back behind that with the CPE devices is quite a labor intense a project. So by choosing the Cat 15 out of the gate, should you go from a dual carrier mode and then maybe split into 2 radios, there's certainly going to be benefit on that side as you're looking at the Cat 15 as well. So just to summarize, both you should see performance on the RF side and certainly from a future on-look upgradability from the Cat 15 devices, which is one of the reasons why we're so excited about it.
Okay, great. And then one more question for an outdoor eNode B, is the backhaul connection Ethernet or fiber?
So on our outdoor eNode Bs, we actually have both. Our 436Q, which is kind of our flagship product, it has both a Ethernet and a fiber optic SFP port. So with that radio, you have the capabilities of both. When you're looking at just the 227 though, that is just a PoE powered device. So that'll just be an Ethernet capable device.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think that is our last question. If there are any more questions that come through, we will make sure to follow up after the webinar ends and get you answers for that. But I'd like to thank, thanks Tom for this great presentation, and thanks Baicells, for putting this together and kind of helping us go through their CPEs and EUDs for LTE Networks. And we really highly recommend that you consider their solutions in the future for any LTE or CBRS network needs. Don't be shy to reach out to DoubleRadius with your questions, and of course, reach out to Tom, for if there's anything specific to Baicells as well. And for those of you who wish to have another chance for today's swag pack giveaway, you're in luck. In a few seconds, there's going to be a survey that pops up on your screen. If you could fill that out, we really appreciate that, and we will be picking a winner, and we'll get in contact with you about your swag bag. And I also want to let the winner of today's swag bag during the webinar was Neil Newert, so with his Wi-Fi 6 snap router question. So we will get in contact with you to get that shipped out to you. Again, thanks for joining today. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Baicells. We really appreciated it.
Thanks, DoubleRadius. Thanks, everyone.